What's up, demons and demonettes? Tis I, a Truxy Demon Queen, and today we're talking about none other than, that's right, the booty of Bonnie. But before we get into it, as always, toss a like and subscribe down below. Now, as always, let's cover her abilities. A Deathmark Arrow. Bonnie fires magic arrows, dealing damage to each enemy twice. The magic arrow deals 30% more damage to enemies afflicted by aging and stuns them for 3 seconds, and then an additional quarter of a second per ult power. And then her increased level just increases the damage. Decay's Reach. When the battle starts, Bonnie casts the aging magic on the rearmost enemy, dealing damage and reducing their haste by 30 until the battle ends. And then Bonnie prioritizes attacking this target. Whenever an allied hero deals magic damage to the enemy, the effect is enhanced, reducing their haste by 10. Each ally can only trigger this once, and it can be enhanced twice. Once the aging effect reaches its maximum stack, the affected enemy suffers additional reduction to their attack, 30% plus 3% per skill, and they take damage, and then the damage increases every 1 second, and then it increases with level. Nightfall Shift. Bunny transforms into a black mist, moving to a safe spot, 4 tiles, and firing 6 arrows. She does damage, and then she's invincible in this form. It works very much like Marilee's Leap. Also, I meant to say, on Death's Reach, it works kind of like, in a way, like a Vala's Mark. It's just that she only, like, focus that target until it dies. Then you increase attack with the Legendary. Then Mythic Plus, this is the big one, the EX Weapon. When aging reaches its maximum stack or aged enemy is defeated, the effect spreads, right? So you can spread it out amongst multiple heroes. Increase is the damage when you get to +5, +10. It's big. It afflicts 2 additional heroes, so it becomes, you can spread it even faster. So we'll talk about that more later. And then at 15, it just increases the damage. And then her S plus ability, when aging effects reach its maximum stack, they get a debuff. Their magic damage taken is increased by 10%. And then an extra 20% from ultimate damage. So, like, say, like a Taylene, or an Aaron, or Carolina, or Viperian. I don't like Viperian with her that much. We didn't pair that off. But we're going to see some examples of where she really works nicely. Right, if you can't tell, I'm really excited for this hero. Alright, so I'm going to play some replay records. We're going to check her out in some stages. I've been stuck on 1655 for a while, and I've been stuck on some other stages, and we're going to talk about some alternate comps. So we're going to take a look here at 1683. Now, the clear comp did use a control comp. It used it Arden and Carolina. But I'm really digging Bonnie a bit more than the Arden Carolina, or it's Bonnie and Cassie are the combo that we're really looking for, that are even more effective than our Arden Carolina combo, at least on our regular stages. So we're going to talk about it. What's going to happen is we have 2 magic damage dealers here in Aaron. He's going to do, so what's going to happen is he's going to do his ult. So he's going to stack 1 stack. And then when Tassie goes, she's going to attack the furthest target as well. And it's going to boom. So you're automatically going to start spreading that around. It spreads really quickly, which means that when she ults, she's going to get a 4-second control, because we're running Sort Charm on her, which adds 5 to her ultimate ability. So it bumps that up to a 4-second. So her ultimate adds in a control factor to her. So she really works nicely in these control teams, and you can see she pumps that damage. So let's check it out in action. So we're gonna slow it down here. So Aaron goes. Bum, 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 bum. So you can see she jumps around in the back here like a Marilee. And she's just attacking her target. But they get controlled. And then she's gonna hit all of them. So obviously the main carry is still going to be Tassie on your team, but she's a really good 2. So my gut's telling me that this is going to be one of the new popular push comps next season, especially if you built Tassie. I think this is a little bit stronger than the Arden Carolina comp, just because she reduces the haste of the enemies. So not only are you controlling them, you're slowing down the pace at which they generate and create ults, which kind of like hurt the team. So it works good against things like Lumont, and I think we do have her against a Lumont team. Yeah, this is her against Igor, and as you know, Igor's a pain. He's even difficult for your regular standard Arden control Carolina comps. He really wreaked havoc. This team was a pain. I tried it with the previous comp, did not work. We slot in Tassie Bonnie, and here we go. So I will mention she does have a sizable, and I mean sizable, health pool. It's one of the things I noticed about her early on is that she can really take a lot of damage. Most of the other control heroes that we run would have taken that hit from Igor, and they would have been almost dead or at half health. And she took, like, no damage from it. So you can see, like, Tassie, it took a ton of damage. And one of the other big problems with this is you see Lumont. Lumont often gets his ult out and wreaks havoc on control teams. But with the reduced haste that he's getting from Bonnie's debuff and the increased damage that he's taking, it doesn't really become a problem. He's never shielding, right? He's just getting controlled and dying, which is fantastic. And you see, he never does anything there. Fantastic. Worked great. Loving her for control. I think she's going to be around for stages and push come next season. I think that's definitely a stronger control team. Now, you're going to want to see her in PvP. So, I don't have Supreme Arena because I'm in first place and I just sit there. So, I couldn't really test her there. But we did get to test her in season. So, I did go ahead and I tested her against some stronger opponents. So like we have Himmel here, right? And they have Paragon for Harak, Paragon for Smokey. So they're running that Harak Mauler meta, and we're gonna see her only at Paragon 1 plus 15 here in action, and we're only gonna get the, I believe this, yeah, this is 3. So that is, yeah, that's the wall map. Very popular map. We're going to get both talent tiles. We're going to run control. No Freyasto. We're just going to run Dun, Talene, Harak, Damien. And look at this damage. Harak, P4 plus 25. Bonnie, P1 plus 15 does almost as much damage as Harak and Talene. It's amazing. Let's check it out. And as you can see, this is one of the Harak teams. This team is just wreaking havoc in Supreme Arena. And look at this Bonnie team with the Celestials. So he gets stunned and debuffed, and she just wrecks the team. And it's not just limited to just that one. Oh no. We can go back in. We'll check another one because I went up against Melly. We got another powerful account here. 65 million. That's like 1 million more than me. Again, we're going up against P4, P4, P3, P. Oh, that's a little shocking. And P4. And let's see. And look. Now, she doesn't do as good here, but she plays a really big role. So let's check it out. So she's really just there, just kind of like debuffing everybody. And she just takes out those rear heroes. Those are the heroes that are getting the buffs. So she's gonna kill those heroes. She does get eaten by Harak, but hey, we get the win. You know, so we're going up against strong heroes here, and she's still performing really well. But that's only Supreme Arena. Let's check her out in a regular arena. Alright, so we don't really have a competitive arena on our server, so we're kind of limited. So I did attack both the two most powerful people on my server. So we have Toxie. Now she's geared a little bit more towards PvP, so you could see she doesn't have as high. She's still pretty high, but her Harak only P2. You know, Freyasto P2, Taylene P4, Scarlita P3. She really invested in the older Celestials, not some of the newer ones as much as I have, but we still have a really good team. And here she's not with a magic team. Now, normally I run Tassie in this slot, and it gives me about the same win rate, but we're going to run Bonnie at a lower investment. And you can see she's going to debuff a Taylene there. That's what the red haste bar is. Which is big, because if you know anything about Taylene, she's a heavy nuker. And even though Dun's going to kind of slow down the ult testing for the enemy team, having that reduced haste really just kind of like slows her down and kind of counters Taylene. So Taylene doesn't burst. Without Taylene bursting, Scarlita's not as effective, so we can then just pick off the other heroes. So at a lower investment, she works just as well as a Tassie in that comp. Now we can test her out against the other strong comp on my server, which is Brownie, although I don't think he's maybe particularly running the best team. He is running a Dun Harak team. He's really fixated on Hugin lately, but Bonnie's going to shut down Hugin, and here she only does about a quarter of the damage, but we'll see. So she actually targeted somebody else, and then it got spread. Because, again, magic damage is going to spread it. Boom. Easy win. Right. You're probably wondering, okay, she's good there. I did use her to attack some weaker teams. Obviously, she did better here. Here we attacked a much weaker team. They ran TNT. We counter TNT by running Dun and Burial. Burial, magic damage. Let's check it out. Now again, we can normally I run Dunlinger and Dio for here, so we have Bonnie in Dio's spot this time. Much lower investment. Again, our Dio is Paragon 4 plus 20. Bonnie here is only Supreme plus 5. 15, I think at this point. I plus 15 her. So she's amazing there. Now, let's go to a lesser game mode, and we're going to talk about a Relentless Rumble. So if you checked out my Rumble video, I got 60. It required some RNG. However, I swapped in Bonnie into that flex spot there where we had Makola. So if we go like this, This is pretty consistent to get 60. This here is very consistent to get 60. So, right, so we run her here, and we'll check it out. We're just gonna speed it up. Getting 60 included some RNG with the Mahola one. I ran again for RNG just to test it out, and I only got 57. With this, I was consistently hitting 60, and it wasn't just with this one artifact. You could run other artifacts to easily get there. I could run Great Sword, I could run Tide Color, I could run Thunderclap. Thunderclap wasn't as reliable. Arcane Spell, Star Shard Spell, all these different ones were getting me consistently to 60. Alright, of course now I tout it and it's great and I don't get the 60, but you can sub her in for Makola and it gets you there pretty easy. Burial one didn't want to work there. Whatever. Alright, now let's talk about the big question in the room, and that's going to be Dream Realm, right? Because a Dream Realm is one of the bigger factors and whether a hero is a must pull or pass or just kind of like a nice to have, right? Nice to have is usually they're good at other game modes other than Dream Realm. So here you have the meta comp that's currently. Here's our best Bonnie comp, far below. So what I'm thinking is, just based on the various comps that we're seeing in Endless Dream Realm, she's not going to be an Endless Dream Realm hero. It's just not going to work out that way. Where I think she's going to come into play is going to be pre-Endless. Remember, I said she comboed well with Taylene, and last season, or at the beginning of this season, I should say, because I'm already thinking about the next season, Chains of Eternity, with the beginning of Waves of Intrigue and pre-Endless, Taylene reigned supreme. Now, Bonnie is going to hit the boss with her aging effect. Taylene's going to trigger it, and you're going to have another magic damage dealer in there, right? Because you're probably going to run. We're probably going to go back to running a Rainer, right? And he's your other magic damage dealer. Even though he's support, he's still going to attack. He's still going to do magic damage. So she's going to get her 2 aging stacks. So if your Taylene is ulting almost the entire fight in pre-Endless, that means you're going to have a consistent 20% increased magic damage debuff on the boss that Taylene is going to be able to utilize. It is going to be an amazing combo. That's an early prediction though, and it's hard to say that you have to pull off a hero on that, right? So that's pure speculation. We're gonna have to wait and see on that one. We're only gonna get 3 days of testing with her banner up, because change starts on the 17th and her banner should end on the, I think the 20th, right around there. So we'll have a few days of testing her in pre-Endless with Taylene, and we'll see how that goes. Ultimately, whether you really should pull her or wait for her to move over. Now, one of the benefits we can say with her being an A-tier Graveborn hero, we don't necessarily have a lot of great options when it comes to A-tier, right? You have Salazar, and even with the buff, still don't think he's gonna be a really great, right? So if you're a Kraken, you know, you've already got them at P4, so you could just pull her to S+, P1, wait for her to move over to Wishlist. That's what I'm doing, right? Because we got that mega pull coming up. So we're easily going to be able to Paragon her up. From a light spend, mid spender standpoint, maybe you want to put a little bit of investment in her first, then wait for her to transition over to a wish list and pull that way. That is another option. Again, we don't necessarily have that great of options when it comes to Graveborn heroes for the A tier side. We are going to get Valka. Don't know how she's going to be. Haven't seen her abilities, so it's definitely going to help to fix that Graveborn A tier problem that we have when it comes to pulling. So that's going to be a really, really nice to have. So you can kind of just wait for her to move over to wishlist if you don't want to invest in her too much based on speculation. But if you want a great stage pushing hero, you want a great PvP hero that's going to help you out there. Now I haven't seen her on defense. I don't think anybody's attacked me. I don't really have any defense records here since I put her up. Yeah, so we don't have any defense records. So we can't really see her on defense. From what I've heard, she's not too great because it's easy to kind of get her to target a hero you don't want her to target on defense just because of positioning. So she's maybe more of an offensive hero, kind of like a Dunlinger or your Dianels or your Sylvinas or your Valas, where they're more primarily an attack hero, but they're really good on attack, right? So unlike, say, like a Hugin, who we didn't really like, and we didn't really feel like he excelled at anything, for an A-tier hero, she's excelling in multiple areas, so that's really, really, really good. We can also mention that, obviously, she's going to be meta on a Ravaged Realm. I just don't know what team she's going to fit in, right? So we can talk about speculation of who she's going to replace here. So we go to a Immortal Squad, right? So either she's going to replace, probably I'm going to think Scarlita, because we want that double magic damage, right? So we're going to want her with a Viperian, and we're going to want her with a Talene for sure. Or she could replace Viperian, because then she's still going to have a Ludovic for that magic damage, for that stack on the debuff. So we're kind of going to get to see her in action with a Talene. The sad thing is we still have to wait a few days before we can actually see her in action in a Ravaged Realm. She'll either be meta there, or it's gonna cause a complete meta shift, and we're gonna completely change up the teams, right? So we may shift like Talene to the back team or Carolina to the front team, depending, and just jockey some other heroes around. It may shift up the whole meta, but she's definitely going to work into this boss somewhere. I just don't know which team she's going to be on and what the final version of the comp's going to look like without being able to test it. Right, so she's really good there. So yeah, if she's good there, you know, she's probably going to be good in some of the other modes that we get. Was she good in Heroic Gauntlet? Yeah, she worked here. We just swapped her out for Odie though, and everybody's probably gonna have Odie built up, so it didn't really make too much of a difference here. It did help, so that could be a help in the future, but I didn't really see her replacing Odie all that well in that game mode. I haven't really used her in labs, not that that's a determinant for anything. Legend Trials, we won't get to try till next season. Again, we don't even know if we'll get to test her on our banner when Legend Trials are up, depending on, what's open. When Adura's Trials, who knows. Guild Supremacy, potentially as a replacement for Odie. Again, she does do that magic damage debuff. We do run Brian, Parisa, and Lily May, all magic damage dealers in that comp. Pairing her with Sonya, she could be an improvement over Odie to the team, right? Because she's going to get that big magic damage debuff on the boss. Again, we haven't had the chance to test her. We'll test her out probably after a reset. So I'm excited to test her there. our benchmark was 2 trillion with the current comp, so we're gonna try to see if we can get like 2.2, maybe 2.1 with her there. Again, very good hero. I would say at this point, a really, really nice to have with the potential for a must pull. It's all going to depend on pre-Endless Dream Realm, which we won't get to judge until next season. So we won't have a final verdict on this hero until then. But if you're fine pulling her off speculation, go ahead and pull for her now. And I will add that if you jump into your photo booth, she makes a great photo partner. I love this. It's a great duo. She makes a great tag team partner for that. And that's it for this one. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.